Hey Cass, what's happening? Just out for a stroll. I had to cool down a little bit. I was pretty warm in the house. It's probably in the upper 50s today, and it's been raining. But I've been in the house doing housework. My brother was here all week, and yesterday morning I had to take him to the airport, so we had to get up at 4 a.m. and drive up to Cleveland Airport and where I could drop him at the curb. So, being that I didn't get a whole night's sleep, I think I kind of have some like jet lag or something today because I feel out of it. But anyway, when my brother was here, we were reminiscing a lot, and we were talking about, the days when we were kids and some of the things we did, and a lot of the old memories. We grew up in the country, and I remember, we didn't get in a lot of trouble, but, we did find some things, mischief to get into. One of the things we would do, we'd get these weeds, that was like hollow in the middle, and we'd light them like a little punk, it'd get a little ash on the end. And we'd smoke them, pretend we were smoking cigarettes. Now, I don't know how healthy it was smoking on a weed, just a random weed. I'm not talking about marijuana, they were just random weeds that grow out in the field. And we'd puff on those like we were smoking cigarettes. As we got more into our teenage years, though, we actually started smoking cigarettes. I don't know how we got them. I don't know if they even ID'd back in those days, or but we always had cigarettes, and we weren't allowed to smoke, so it was very common that we'd come home, and my dad would say, hey, have you guys been smoking? I smell cigarettes on you. And we'd always blame it on the neighbor kid. Say, nah, Scotty was smoking, not us. We don't smoke. That was just him. He just blowing his smoke on us, and that's why we smell like cigarettes. So that was kind of a fib, but we sure didn't want my dad to find out that we were smoking cigarettes. Well, one particular day, we were sitting at the dinner table, and I was raised in a pretty strict Baptist atmosphere, and my dad was, the iron fist of the household. And we had finished eating, and one of the things we were taught to do was use table manners all the time. So before you just got up and walked away, you had to say, "Can I be excused, please?" And you had to ask my father, and he would decide whether you could be excused from the dinner table or not. And on this particular day, he said, "No, just sit there." So we were kind of like shocked, like, what's he making us sit here for now? And he got up and he left the room, and he came back and he sat down, and he pulled out a pack of Marlboros. And he fumbled with the package. I don't think he was real familiar with how cigarettes actually work, but he fumbled around with the package and he got it open. And he pulled a cigarette out and stuck it in his mouth. And then he pulled a couple cigarettes, up out of the pack. And he said, "Anybody want a cigarette?" Well, my brother, the one that was here, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll take one." I don't think he quite understood the implications of what my dad was about to do. But he took one and he stuck it in his mouth. And my dad took a match and lit his cigarette and started puffing on it. Now, my dad didn't know how to smoke. He didn't smoke, so he was just puffing in his cheeks, of course. And, there was like 4 of us brothers sitting at the table like, like shocked. He says, "What do you think? You like this? Am I cool? Am I really cool? I'm smoking Marlboros. I'm pretty cool, huh?" And then he looks at my brother, Brian, how about a light? You know, and then at that point, I think my brother realized the grave error he made with the cigarette. No. He's, come on, light up, smoke with me. No, 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 that's all right. And he put the cigarette, my brother put the cigarette down. Well, my dad put the cigarette out that he had. But boy, did we get a lecture that night. He ripped us from one end to the other. Now, somehow, you know, we couldn't always fool him. I think he was wise enough to know that we were smoking. Perhaps he found somebody's cigarette somewhere. We thought we were pretty clever to hide them in our sock, you know. But apparently, my dad was, you know, on the lookout for things like that. As time went on, though, I continued to smoke, and I smoked cigarettes for quite a few years. And what I would do is I smoked at work. All the guys I worked with, you know, I've talked about some of those old timers that I worked with, they all smoked either cigarettes or those little cigar things. And somebody always had a cigarette in their mouth, so of course I thought, well, peer pressure, you know, I'm going to smoke too. So I started smoking, I think, Winston's at the time. Don't ask me why that was my choice, but it was either Winston's or Marlboro, and I don't remember why I chose to smoke Winston's, but that was the cigarette of choice. And I smoked those at work. When I went home, however, you know, I wouldn't smoke at all because I didn't want anybody to know that I smoked. And I don't know how I covered up the smell on me or my breath. I guess I just always blamed it on my coworkers. I'd say, well, I had to ride in the truck with those guys and they were all smoking cigarettes, and that's why I smell like cigarettes. So I seemed to get away with it. But of course, you know, as time went on, I continued smoking more and more. And that escalated with my drinking. Because if I was drinking beer and getting a buzz on from the beer, I would just chain smoke one cigarette after the other. You know, when one was out, I'd light another one. And yeah, it's a wonder I could even breathe. I even stepped it up a notch and started smoking Cools. You know, the menthol Cools. And those ended up really tearing up my lungs. I mean, it got to the point where my lungs hurt from smoking those things. And so I told myself, I gotta quit. I just can't do this anymore. So I think, I look back and I think I smoked for like 30 years of my life. It's a wonder I didn't die from lung cancer rather than my wife. Valerie also had a smoking habit, and she was still smoking when I met her. And, you know, she was smoking in the house, and she, when she first moved in here, yeah, she was, you know, the whole house started smelling like cigarettes, and I wasn't real happy with that at all, because no one had ever smoked in this house. But anyway, it kind of almost came to a head one day when she dumped her ashtray in the trash can, and the trash can caught on fire, and she could have burned this whole house down. Well, she vowed to quit smoking, and she had to go to a smoking cessation clinic, and she wore the patch and had, you know, chewed the gum and all that stuff, and was able to quit smoking. Unfortunately, about 10 or 12 years after she quit smoking, that's when she found out that she had lung cancer. And it ended up taking her life. And the doctors all said, yeah, it was pretty much from the cigarette smoking. Her lungs were just ruined. So, yeah, if I can encourage you guys, I don't smoke at all anymore. I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't smoke pot, and I used to do both, but my lungs can't take it anymore. Actually, I think I have like a COPD or whatever they call it, because I get up in the morning, my lungs are all full of junk, and I'm coughing and coughing and coughing, trying to get this phlegm up. And sometimes I think I'm going to choke to death. It's so bad. And then I go through the day, I'm pretty much okay, but every once in a while, I'll have a coughing attack where I just feel like I can't get this junk up out of my lungs. So, I've always told people, I said, that's probably going to be the death of me one day when I can't breathe anymore, when I'm choking on my own phlegm or something. So, yeah, if I can encourage any of you guys that still smoke to put those cigarettes down, And once you quit smoking for a while, I'm not kidding, once you quit smoking for a while, it's like, it just like offends you to see somebody else smoking. It's like, ugh, how can they do that? Because, once you get away from it, you realize what a terrible habit it really was. And how much better you feel when you don't smoke. Well, cats, thanks for listening to me today. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you smoke, give it a shot. Quit. Don't try to quit. Give it 100% and get away from those things. Well, thanks for watching. I still got more work to do. I'm running out of steam, though. You know how that goes. You have big intentions for the day. You want to get a lot of stuff done. But, as the afternoon rolls on, it's like, ugh. Okay. Hey, I washed the sheets. I changed the bed. I washed the towels. And I did some vacuuming. Then I found out my vacuum is broke, so I got to figure out either if I can fix it or maybe have to buy a new one. Well, alright, cats. If you liked the video, hit me with a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And until next time, ride hard and die free.